Previously on the Tonya Tko show.
Friends and family members which no longer serve you, you become like the 5 closest people to you. I allowed her to get me into rubbing and smearing mud all over his car. They go to inspire us from the space of their own understanding and where it is that they are in life. This is the one thing that I want you to keep in mind, that it's like giving birth. When you want to give birth to this new person, this new version of you, you have to remember that it's just like any birth. It's like people can go with you to the hospital, they can hold your hands, they can rub your back, they can participate in the creation of it. But there's going to come a point where it is that you are going, that nobody can get there for you. Nobody can go on that journey with you. You have to go on that journey with yourself. And so when it's time to make that shift, you have to realize that you are giving birth to a new version of you, and there's nobody that can push and do that for you. You're going to go into a space where there is only you, because you are going to have to do what you got to do to get yourself onto the other side of it. Only you. You and only you. Hear me. So this is the first thing that you do. You know this friend of yours. You know whether to have a serious sit down or to mention it while you're driving. Some friends, when it comes to confrontation, you can't look them right in the eye because it seems too confrontational. So you have the conversation while you're driving, or while you're laying in bed where you're looking straight forward and not at each other. I mean, I guess depending on the type of friend you have, or where you're sitting on the couch, or wherever it is, depending on who your friend is and whether or not your friend prefers or doesn't prefer eye contact. That's going to be really important, because this is going to be a tough conversation. Have this tough conversation in a way that is comfortable for the person that you're having a tough conversation with, as well as in a way that's comfortable for you. Remember, honoring yourself in the process. Pull them aside where there's no bystanders listening and but just a private conversation between you two. And part of the reason that you're watching this video is because it's a tough conversation to have. And we all have had tough conversations. So that's how you're going to start the conversation. Bring up a tough conversation they've had to have, a tough conversation you know that they've had, that been wanting to have, etc., or a tough conversation that they couldn't have. You can make reference to that. But you're going to want to get some symmetry with them, right? So you're going to say, you know how difficult it is to have a tough conversation. You know how you feel guilty, you feel shame, come up with whatever emotions it is that you are currently feeling. You feel like a bad person, you feel like a not good friend, whatever it is that you're feeling. You know how difficult it is to have a tough conversation and how it can make you feel really uncomfortable because you love another person. This is one of those tough conversations, and it's very difficult for me. But I feel like we need to have this conversation because I love you and I want to honor you. So please, if you could hear me out, because if you interrupt me, I may lose my nerve. I may not be able to say it. And this is a cue and clue for you. If you ask your friend, if you tell your friend that this is a tough conversation for you and that you need them to just hear you out without interrupting, if they begin to interrupt, this is a clue and cue for you that there may be some things about this friendship which are truly not serving you in your best interest, and that's probably part of the reason that you'd like to shift from this relationship anyway. So let's go back to it. You know how conversations are tough, etc., etc. This is one of those tough conversations. So please hear me out, because I've built up the nerve, I've built up the courage to say this right now. And I want to be, for the best interest of our relationship, it's important that we discuss this, right? So that's the premise in which you set it up. And then you tell them, be honest with them. And the purpose of this conversation is not to gain their approval. It's not to gain permission from them. It's to share information with them. How many times have you been ghosted? How many times has a relationship ended and you didn't know why the relationship ended? It's like the person just disappeared. They faded to black and you didn't know why. You had no inclination. You had no closure from the relationship. This is an opportunity for you to tell this person how you feel, to speak your truth. And it's really up to them whether or not they accept it or not, but it's really not up to you to try to convince them. It's you giving them information so that if you do fade to black, you've already spoken your truth and there's no gray area, there's no misunderstanding, there's no fragmented relationships left out there. You've told them exactly how it is that you feel. So just speak your truth. And this part is going to be difficult because only you know what your truth is. If you were the most successful person in your group of 5 friends, you can help them ascend. But then who's there for you to help you ascend? It's like you want to get to the next level as well. And I'm telling you, it's not easy to speak this aloud. But one of the things that I've said is, in this relationship, I notice that we engage in a lot of gossip, etc. And I don't mind gossiping. I love gossiping. It's fun when we have it. However, the frequency of it may be becoming too much. The ratio, the balance of other types of interactions versus those types of interactions. So it's like, is there a balance? So mentioning you enjoy these parts, however, there's an imbalance. Like let's say like with my girl who was a Hellcat. Let's say a lot of our interactions were descending into places where we were going around smearing a lot of mud on people's cars. That's not healthy for my growth. It wouldn't be healthy for hers. And that's not the general direction that I want to go in. So I would say, I notice that we spend the majority of our time participating in these types of activities, whether it's smoking, drinking, whatever. And I'm interested in making a change in my life. And I'd like to have more of these interactions. I'm having this conversation with you first because I'm letting you know what it is that I feel like I'm not getting from this relationship. And I'm telling you, it's difficult to have, but I'm letting you know what are some of the things that I'm not getting from this relationship that I'm yearning for. I'm yearning for more philosophical conversation. I'm yearning for more spiritual conversations. I'm yearning for more of an emotional connection where I can come to you when I'm having a hard day. I'm yearning for interactions in a relationship where you also help uplift me when I'm feeling down, instead of just the other way around. So whatever your truth is, speak your truth and speak it plainly, speak it clearly, and speak it compassionately. Number 2, one technique that you can use is a sandwich. Start out the conversation with a compliment. Put all of the criticisms in the middle and then end the conversation. Put a bookend on it of another compliment so that they know that you love them. Start it out with love, put the criticism in the middle, and then end it with love so that they have a nice love sandwich. And step 3, this is going to really seal the deal for you in being able to relinquish this relationship with love. You can use this analogy word for word. You can alter the analogy. You can make it your own. You can even change it. But this is the basic premises of the analogy. I call this analogy the well. This works really well for human beings because we are predisposed to enjoying stories. It helps us visualize. It helps us analogize. It helps us create an image that we can understand in our minds and be able to then internalize, feel, and interpret. So this is the well analogy. You talk to them about, so I'll just tell you. Okay. So, I really love you. And it's like you and I are here in the bottom of this well. And while we're in the bottom of this well, we have a lot to talk about climbing up out of this well, about the circumstances in this well, about how sucky it is down here in this well. But up there's a light, and we can see the light. And while I enjoy being here in the well with you, I see that light and I feel like I'm climbing towards it on very loose gravel. And so the gravel and the rocks are breaking out under my fingers and they're falling down into my face. And it's very difficult to climb up. I see you down there and I love you. And I want to be down there with you. However, there's a light up there that I would like to reach as well. And so it's like while I'm climbing up and the gravel and the rocks are falling all over me, they're falling in my face, they're slipping out from beneath my fingers. While you're talking to me and interacting with me, I hear you. And then I look back down at you. And because I love you so much, I want to be down there with you. So then I find myself easing my grip from climbing up to come back down there with you because I love you so much and because I want to be there with you. However, with that light up there, you see that I'm climbing towards it. And I want us both to get up there. However, if you're not willing to also climb too, I have to do what's right for me because I know that you love me and that you don't want us both to stay down there. That you want, at least if we both can't make it up, that you want one of us to. So while I'm climbing up, I want to be able to carry you as well. But the rocks are slippery and the gravel is loose and I'm having a hard enough time carrying myself. I'm having a hard enough time carrying myself because this is not easy. It's not easy to leave you back here. But I know where it is that I want to go. And though it's not easy climbing up, I have to do what I need to do to get up to that light above. And because you love me, you will understand. Now listen, I want you to come with me. This is why I'm having the conversation with you. So climb with me, please. Climb with me because I want us both to get there. However, if after this conversation you are still not willing to climb, I'm having this conversation with you to let you know that I am going to continue to climb. I'm going to continue. I'm sorry, so please express to them how much you love them. Express that you do love them, but you love yourself too. And remember this quote. I remember I read this quote from an old classmate from college, and the quote stuck with me, and the quote says, I can't help the poor if I'm one of them. So realize that even if you were to want to help your friend, you can't help your friend by staying in the bottom of the well with them. You have to climb and get to where it is that you need to be, and then you can throw them back a life raft. But it does none of you any good if you both, listen, it does nobody any good if you both stay down there. So you got to do what you need to do for you. I'll tell you guys 2 stories before I get out of here. The first story is I recently had to separate myself from a friend of mine who I had that conversation with twice. And it got to the point where I had to just do what I needed to do to turn away and climb up.
Next time on the Tonya Tko show.
Why is money going to hang around a place where it's not wanted? I'm going to get into your pocket. These are self-fulfilling prophecies. Next thing you know, you and your friend are right back down there in the bottom of the well together.
Thank you for being a knockout, and thank you for joining my exclusive mailing list by clicking the link at the top of the screen. That way, you'll make sure that you always get my latest videos emailed directly to you.